Hey guys, and thanks for tuning in to this edition of Scruff's Garage. Today we're changing the clutch fluid in a C5 Corvette. With the GM hydraulic system, the clutch fluid is very prone to absorbing moisture from the system, and it gets a lot of clutch dust from the slave cylinder, and it also leaches the color from some of the seals in the slave cylinder. So the issue that I still have, even though I've upgraded to the TIC clutch master cylinder, is that the best I can tell, I'm still boiling the clutch fluid at the track. That after 3 or 4 hard shifts coming up through the RPM range, I appear to be boiling the clutch fluid because I'll lose clutch hydraulic pressure. So keeping good clean clutch fluid is really important for my track days. So this is part of my track day prep. I'll show you, sometimes this is referred to as the Ranger method, but basically we'll be sucking the fluid out of the clutch reservoir, and then we'll refill it with fresh fluid. I use the ATE Type 200 brake fluid. It's the same that I run in my braking system. It has a much higher boiling temperature. We'll cycle the clutch pedal 30 to 50 times to help move the fluid through the system, and then we'll repeat. We'll have to do this probably 5 or 6 times, or however long it takes that the fluid in the reservoir after we cycle the clutch pedal doesn't come up black and dirty again. Anytime you're dealing with brake fluid, you want to make sure you've got some towels close by. You don't want to get brake fluid on your car's paint. It's very corrosive and will eat your paint in a hurry. Your clutch fluid reservoir, of course, is over here. You've got your brake master cylinder, and then you got your clutch fluid reservoir. To suck this fluid out, I'm going to use an automotive siphon, and then I've got just a little Gatorade bottle here to the side that I'll deposit the dirty fluid into. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so you can see how black and dirty this clutch fluid is, and this has only been in there maybe 6 months, maybe 1,000 miles. Part of that was some track driving. My last track event was in March, and it's now just the beginning of September. Let that sit there. This first time, I'm also going to use a clean paper towel to wipe out the inside. You can see how black this comes up. That's debris from the clutch system, clutch dust. So wipe out the top part of this. You don't want to run it down too far. You don't want to get air into the system, so you leave just a bit there in the bottom. Now we'll refill this with clean fluid. We'll cycle the clutch pedal, and then rinse and repeat. Go back in there. Make sure it seats properly so when you screw the lid down you don't pinch the boot. Now I'll jump in the car. I'll cycle the clutch pedal in and out 30 to 50 times. And then we'll come back, we'll check the fluid, see how dirty it is, and we'll repeat the process. Okay, so I just jumped out of the car. Like I said, I pressed the clutch pedal in and out about 50 times. Just slow, steady, in and out. You're just cycling the fluid, getting it to move a little bit in the system. It's a closed system and it doesn't loop, which is why we have to do this several repeated times. Now, of course, if at any point you have to do a clutch, or if you replace the slave cylinder, then that's a perfect time to do one of the speed bleeders, and would make this pretty much a one-step process. Unfortunately, I just haven't gotten to that point yet. Dropping the transmission in one of these is a really big job, replacing the clutch. though, if this doesn't, if I don't get these my clutch pedal issues resolved, then I really think that's probably going to be my next step, is replacing the clutch. My theory is that under high torque setting or power PMs, when I'm putting a lot of power to it, that the clutch is actually slipping just a little bit, which creates a tremendous amount of heat right there within the bell housing where the slave cylinder is. And then it's that heat that's causing the fluid to boil, most likely in the slave cylinder or very close to it, which is why I lose hydraulic pressure very briefly. And then shortly thereafter, if I coast a little ways, the fluid temperature comes down just enough that it stops boiling, and then I regain clutch pressure. So let's take a look. Take the lid back off. Move to the side. So you see this fluid still got a kind of gray-green tint to it. Just out most of the residue out of there at this point. And again, we'll top it off. Fresh, clean brake fluid. I can actually stop the full point this out. Be careful when you're getting in and out of the car after you've been doing this that you don't have brake fluid on your fingers. That way it doesn't get on your door handle or your steering wheel or anything inside of the car. Alright, we'll repeat the process. I'll jump back in the car. Again, like before, I'll cycle the clutch pedal. Just in and out, nice, smooth, steady strokes, about 50 times. And then we'll keep repeating this process. So we'll check in right at the very end. Okay, so this is going to be the 5th time that I've cycled the fluid out. So let's take a look. Last time it was almost clear. It was getting better. Let's see how it looks this time. Yeah, I think this is going to be a lot better. Yeah, so that's pretty much natural clear color of the brake fluid. So that's exactly what we wanted to see. We've gotten as much of the old fluid out of the system as we can. I'm sure there's still some in not the reservoir, but the master cylinder, maybe down in the slave cylinder. But we've gotten all that we can get out of the system. So I'm going to top off the system one last time. And you'll see the full mark inside of the reservoir. Make sure you fill it to the appropriate level. Do one final wipe off of the rubber boot that goes in there. Make sure there's no tears on that. Clean it off. Make sure it seats properly. We'll put our cap back on. There we go. It's that simple. Like I said, if you have a speed bleeder, this becomes a one-step process. But for a stock C5 Corvette or most of the GM products of this era with this style clutch fluid reservoir. This is one way that you can change your clutch fluid. Like I said, suck it out of the reservoir, fill it back up with clean fluid, cycle the clutch pedal about 50 times to help move the fluid through the system, and then rinse and repeat. Like I said, for me it took about 5 times to get good clean fluid to stay in the reservoir. I think the very first time I did this last year, I maybe had to do this almost 10 times. Probably the clutch fluid had never been changed. Now this is part of my regular maintenance procedure. Every time before I go to a track day, I'm changing the clutch fluid. So I hope this helps. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit like and subscribe at the bottom. Lets me know that you're enjoying these videos, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.